Is my dryer on? Of course it is, because would it really be one of my videos if the washing machine or dryer wasn't on? Amazingly though, I did wait until the washing machine was done to start this video, and then I just put everything in the dryer straight away, turned it on, and was just like, oh. I could have waited. I could have made the video and then put the dryer on, but no. No, that's not how I do things. Hello everybody, welcome back. If you have not been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. So many books that I decided to do a whole day dedicated to series and sequels and short stories, because otherwise I would never have gotten through them just having a Wednesday video. So yeah, today I'm going to be talking about books 3 and 4 in the Tony Marcella, however you want to pronounce that, books by Dana E Donovan. So yeah, we've got book 3, which is The Witch's Key, and then book 4 is Bones of a Witch. I will say, I mean, I love these books anyway, but Bones of a Witch, book 4, it draws on the Salem witch trials, and there's a little foreword at the beginning talking about the Salem witch trials, how it started, and said that this was their story. So yeah, and book 4 sees Lilith as being a descendant of a woman in the witch trials. So it really does bring that storyline into this world, when it started a bit more paranormally with the people with the psychic abilities and things, and then with Lilith, and then the events that happen in book 2 which make Detective Marcella younger. It really goes more down the witchcraft route. Yeah, I will read you the blurb for both of them for those who want it. Circumstances surrounding an unexplained spike in deaths among homeless men have Detective Marcella suspecting paranormal forces are again at work in the town of Newcastle. But things get complicated when his investigation is stifled by his hopeless infatuation with a witch who may just be at the heart of the mystery. So that's book 3. Book 3 looks a lot at Tony's childhood and his relationship with his father, and yeah, you just get a bit more family background for Tony in that one. And then book 4, you're looking at more of a family background for Lilith, going back into who she's descended from and who might be left and who might come back. Shining a light on one of America's darkest hours when a simple accusation could get a girl hanged. But as Lilith learns, history is always pending and the art of witch hunting never dies. Nice, short, simple. Yes, Bones of a Witch is 258 pages, and The Witch's Key is, where is it gone? 288 pages. I'm a very quick reader. Doesn't take me long. I think I probably read both of them, like one book, about 2 days. It's just such a good series. So yeah, The Witch's Key looks at deaths that are happening on railways. So you've got regulars who like to, I can't even remember what the word was used in the book, but yeah, you've got just people who like ride the railways and like hop on trains and bunk on them and all that sort of stuff. You've got this whole community of people who go out on the trains like that. And that brings us to Tony's father, who he finds out is fairly local and is in a home, because at this point Tony is now younger in appearance. He cannot admit to his name when he goes to visit the man who appears to be his father in the home, and so he uses the name of one of his detective friends, which gets misheard as Spitelli rather than Spinelli. So you've got that going through it. But yeah, so you're seeing him visit his father a lot throughout the book as he gets to know the community that was on the trains, and he finds out that his father was also on the trains, and it goes back to basically what appears to be suicides. Then you find out there is a mark being left at each site, which implies that somebody else may have been involved. And you also find out about a woman who seems to fit the appearance of Lilith, which puts Lilith in the firing range, essentially, of everybody thinking that it's Lilith who has been causing these deaths. And then you find out that the person who everybody thinks it is a woman called Gypsy, who was around at the time that Tony's father was riding the trains. So yeah, it's it sounds convoluted, but actually it's very easy to read, and we're also seeing the relationship between Tony and Lilith develop through the books as well. The one thing in this book is the fact that there's a point when he thinks that he and Lilith might be siblings, and you're just like, oh my god! Based on his attraction to Lilith and the apparent attraction that Lilith may have with Tony. Yeah, there is a brief moment where you think, oh my god, are they actually related to each other? But as you carry on through the book, you realise what's actually going on. So I'll just say that. But yeah, it does go over the possibility that they may be related. Spoiler, but I think it's something that people may appreciate going into the book, considering the fact that it does hint greatly that they might be related, but you do find out. It's fine. The fact that he is attracted to Lilith is not incest. But yeah, and then in Bones of a Witch, you're looking more at Lilith's history when the town of Newcastle in Massachusetts finds the bones of a woman who was hanged in the witch trials, and Lilith goes, I want that body back, because that is my aunt. My great-great aunt, however many years it goes back. But yeah, Lilith basically says, that is my relative, and I want bones, and I want to be able to do with them what I want, but at the same time, the city won't let her have them. They want her to prove that she is actually related to the body. I say body, bones, because it obviously goes back quite a while. And so it comes back to this key, which isn't really a key to anything. It's just something that's been passed down the family. And so Lilith goes, this is my one, and then my descendant should have had one buried with her, but they can't find it. This is a key moment, because then you find out that actually Lilith is not the only descendant from the witch trials living here, which, you know, we still see people who are descendant from people who were hung in the witch trials. I mean, it makes me kind of think of Hocus Pocus, when you've got especially Hocus Pocus 2, when at the beginning you see the younger Sanderson sisters and you see the community and how they were like banished from the community and how they grew up, and then you look at the modern day and you see that the current mayor was actually a descendant of the other mayor. So yeah, it made me think of that, because you have people who were descendant from witch hunters, so people who were targeting the witches, and you realise that may have not completely gone away in some members of the community, and that they may be targeting people in order to accuse people of being witches. I mean, the moment when Lilith actually stands up, because there's a whole courtroom thing with Lilith, when she goes into this, when she's kind of kidnapped by the community, who are accusing her of being a witch, and they're asking all these questions while she's on the stand. She's not allowed a defence, because that's not the way they do things. And she goes, you're asking me the wrong questions. Like, just ask me if I'm a witch. And so he goes, yeah, just like, I'm not denying I'm a witch. And they're all shocked. It's just like, but I'm denying killing the people because it's actually one of you guys that did it. There's a death in there that's been investigated in regards to the descendants of the witch trials and everything. Oh, it's so good. It really does give a story to some of it. But I mean, like, I've always been fascinated by the witch trials and the hysteria behind it because of how quickly it just took over. And the fact that it came out of kids making up stories and a servant who told a story to the kids, and then it just went. And nowadays, people are actually looking back and thinking a lot of the hallucinations that appear to be happening in the mania may have actually been bad rye from the rye fields. I find that completely bonkers. But it's so interesting and fascinating that the barley fields may have been causing them to hallucinate and may have caused some of the hysteria around it all. It's such to say an incredible part of our history feels like the wrong word, but it is fascinating for me, especially as somebody who is left-handed. My grandma's surname is Gale, and the surname Gale is connected to the witch trials, there was a family there, and admittedly I haven't actually found a link there, but I know there were Gales of Barbados that ended up in America, that ended up in Massachusetts. I think there was even a Gale from Barbados that ended up at Roanoke. So it's things I've discovered while doing my family tree that I've realised that might not actually be connected to the family. It's just there were names that kind of took me there, and so yeah, like I'm not saying I'm descendant of anybody in the witch trials because I don't know. I don't know if there is actually any connection. All I know is that the surname Gale did actually take me to looking at the witch trials. But yeah, I just find it fascinating, and also as a left-hander, I identify as a witch. My mum was left-handed. I was convinced that my grandma was left-handed, but my mum was just like, no, it was her father? My grandma's dad that was left-handed, I think. Somehow misremembered it over the years, but I swear I heard something about my grandma being forced to write with her right hand. I don't know, because it's definitely not on the other side. The other side of the family is very right-handed, so yeah, I find it interesting learning about how left-handedness is passed on as well through genetics, and yeah, it's stuff that I wasn't really interested in when I was younger. It's just something that's kind of come to me as I've gotten older, especially as I've researched the family tree, and you know, I've just gotten really interested in all of that. But yeah, I mean, there was a connection there. I was talking about the witch trials, and the witch trials are a big part of Bones of a Witch, and there's more magic, and you know, but as before, like in book 2, the big magic moment was when both Lilith and Tony were at the heart of magic, of making them younger. There is another big moment of magic in Bones of a Witch in regards to the person that Lilith is descended from. I'll go more into that when I read book 5 and 6. I don't know how much I've said. But it's very clever, it's very entertaining. It's also funny looking at the relationship between Tony and Lilith, because like odds with each other, but then you've also got his Tony's friendships with Dominic and Carlos, who were his friends in the police, because originally Dominic was the new one in the first book. Obviously when he got younger, he wasn't able to go into his role as a detective anymore because he's not that person. Like, he's just knocked about 40 years off his age. So yeah, what happens is that Carlos puts Tony's experience and details into the system to create a new job for him, and then introduces him as Tony Jr. So Tony's long lost son. So yeah, you've got that going on. They just spat out a new title for him, but then also Tony Jr., as he's now known as, has also done some training to put him back in the police force, because it was in book 2 when he wasn't working. Was it book 2? Was it book 3? Yeah, because it happened at the end of book 2, so it was in book 3 he wasn't officially working for the police, but in book 4 he is now working for the police again, with some new training under his belt, and then that has been combined with his qualifications as older Tony to spit out a new role for him. I'm on a bit of a reread kick at the moment, so I've been rereading these. I'm rereading the Hunger Games books at the moment. I finished book 1 yesterday, and then I found the first 3 films on Paramount Plus. So I can't get Paramount Plus on the TV, but I do have the app on my iPad. So it's mirroring, I was screen mirroring onto the TV, because what's great about Paramount Plus is that it just, for movies, it does like a couple of minutes of adverts at the beginning, and then you get the whole film uninterrupted by advert. Just like, this is brilliant. Because there is another app that I've got which it just puts ads at random places. So, but yeah, I very much enjoyed the fact that I could just watch it uninterrupted. There's just a point when I forgot to pause it, stepped out of the room, and it's just like, oh, I want to see how they did that. So I then tried to rewind it, and it froze, so I had to come out of the app and then re-mirror it again, and then it was fine. But yeah, basically, if I'm watching a movie that's on mirroring, I can't rewind it, so it'll just freeze. So I just have to remember that if I need to leave the room, just to pause it and come back in, because that's absolutely fine. Technology, it's a wonderful thing. Anyway, yeah, I'm really enjoying rereading these, because it's been such a long time. There was just so much I've forgotten. Book 3 is The Witch's Key, and book 4 is Bones of a Witch. So the next 2 are going to be Witch's House, that's book 5, and then book 6 is Kiss of the Witch. So yeah. And there's 12 books in total. and I never read the final book. I don't know if there's a way to kind of unread these, if that makes sense. Because obviously it believes that I have read 11 of them. So when I go into it, it says read, and so it all popping up at like the end. Oh, there is a mark as unread section. Oh, that's good to know. I didn't think there was an option to do that. I just found it. So if I mark all those unread, that means it'll be very easy to find out where I'm going. Yay! But yeah, I'm currently rereading Hunger Games, and I watched the first movie last night. That was good fun. Also, because it's not very often you get to immediately finish a book and then go straight into the movie. And so it made me realise just how true to the books the film was. I feel like I'm not going to talk about my reread and comparing it with the movie, because I think that'll be an interesting one to do. I mean, obviously the Hunger Games books have been out for ages, and the movies. But as I filmed this, I think last night was the first preview for the Hunger Games play. Yeah, I've been seeing lots of comments about that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. And if you do have any book recommendations, do let me know. But also, I'm enjoying my just binging TV series and finding new series and films to watch. So yeah, if there's anything, because as I said, I've got a really eclectic taste. I will literally read anything. So yeah, I need to go check my radiators and figure out what the hell's going on with my heating. So yeah, thank you, and I will see you next time with another video. Stay safe. I love you all.